are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
host of Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and you can email us anytime at lockedonrays@gmail.com. Ulises, we did a mailbag episode yesterday, and we have yet another mailbag episode today. In fact, we have so many emails and voice memos that we'll have to do one next week as well, since we will not be doing a show on Friday. So
a lot of them came in.
Yes.
I want to say thanks already to Austin, to Kyle, to Mia. Thank you guys for reaching out and giving us your thoughts. You guys are definitely on the line. But yeah, a lot of them came in, and we love it. We love these mailbag segments. You guys are really taking into
yes,
this idea, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and again, there's still, if you want to try to squeeze one in over the weekend, we might be able to squeeze one or two more mailbag questions in. I think we'll probably do that on Monday's show. So rest assured, look, people have a lot of thoughts, concerns, questions, inquiries, and it's kind of fun to hear from everybody what the Rays fan landscape is thinking and feeling right now.
This is a platform for all Rays fans that want to get their thoughts out. Right now, there's no game recaps, guys. Okay, I don't have to tell you, that Nelson Cruz went 0 for 4. I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah.
All right? I don't have to tell you the pitching line of pick a Shane or a Drew or whoever. We don't have that anymore. So this platform is for you guys to also get your thoughts across, and so we always welcome that.
All right, let's go ahead and get rolling here. Ulises, what's the first one we got?
We've got Noah Worley. He says, why do you pitch to the hottest hitter in Kike Hernandez? Why not force another bat to beat you? I agree with you. Why did Joey Wendell sit down completely in Game 4? I don't know, and somebody should ask Cash that question. On the pitching side, I wish a guy like either Head, Mazza, Conley, or Enns could have made a place on the roster. I will miss KK next year. Yes, we've talked about the pitching rotation staff that was created for this ALDS. I do think that there was place for Lewis Head. I think he showed enough to be there, especially when a guy like Matt Whistler, who's too valuable to put on the IL, never made an appearance in Game 4. If you had a Lewis Head who had not been injured this whole year, could he have gotten injured? Of course, maybe. But then you would have had somebody else to back him up. So I agree with Noah. How about that? I will miss KK next year. He's on the KK. That was very nice. Thank you for the last 7 years, but I bid you adieu. How about
I've been so wishy-washy. I've been flip-flopping like a politician on the KK mess because he had a great year. This is like his best year since maybe, at least offensively, since 2017. He virtually stayed healthy all year, which it didn't seem that way throughout spring training in the first part of the year. Maybe the 60-game season gave him some, hey, I've got some extra time to build my legs underneath me. Yeah. But, I mean, I look at, there's a reason that Brett Phillips wasn't put on the postseason roster. Manny Margot was quiet in the postseason and the tail end of the regular season. And quite frankly, those two guys can't do collectively what Kevin Kiermaier can do with his arm, with his glove, with his legs. And he's showing he realizes now, okay, I can't try to be a 12, 15, 17 home run hitter. Singles, doubles the other way. I've got to be deliberate about going oppo and playing to my strengths. My strengths are being a bloop guy, a singles guy, a get-on-base guy, not a swing for the fences and try to pull everything to the right side guy.
And he was valuable in this postseason.
Oh, yeah.
I know that the slash line is not so pretty. 214 batting average, a 313 on base, 429 slugging. But his presence was definitely felt, and especially with the glove. I mean, we all know that that's his number one, his bread and butter. So if that's working, it's working. So I don't know if I'm as serious on the I will miss KK next year train, because I wouldn't be surprised if they actually keep him through his last year of the contract. I wouldn't be surprised. Now,
I know.
I'm in the middle, though, just like you as a politician. I'm just, wherever the wind takes me. I feel like I'm not going to be surprised if I see him next year. I'm also not going to be surprised if he's traded. I'm right in the middle. I can see it happen both ways, and I understand the pros and cons of shipping him out or of him remaining.
The other way to look at it, too, is maybe his trade value is highest right now. It may not be higher than, I mean, can he get better? Can he have a better year than what he had this year?
No, but again, the con against trading him is that no other team is going to look at KK with the same perspective than Rays fans and Rays front office do. So that's why he would have to put up monster numbers so that the value would be there. So yeah, is the trade value a little bit better now than it was maybe in the mid-season or even before the season?
Yeah.
Sure. But instead of 10 baseballs, you get 20.
But and the other thing too that we have to consider is this is a team that let go of Charlie Morton for $15 million. That traded Blake Snell because he was making $10 million.
Right.
This is a franchise that traded Evan Longoria. So can or will they trade Kevin Kiermaier? It's certainly within the cards, if that's the route they choose to go. But KK certainly made it known that, he seemed to do everything that he could, that he wants to stick on this team next year and beyond. So I honestly don't. I'm like 50-50 right now. I have no idea what they're going to do. And maybe it's one of those things where they have so many players coming up for arbitration that look, they can afford to keep KK. How many other guys do they have on the books? We've talked about this before. It's not like, with KK, our payroll is going to be $90 million.
If they keep everybody, dude, it's going to be like a $78 million payroll. So it's like, yes, they can do it. They can do it. Now, have they ever gone above 78? No, I don't think they've ever actually gone over 75.
Yeah. And look, I think one thing to consider, and I don't want to make this a whole KK segment, but I do think it's probably one or the other with Tyler Glasnow in KK. You're either going to pay Tyler Glasnow. Are you going to pay Tyler Glasnow $6 million to rehab? Or are you going to pay Kevin Kiermaier $12 million to play?
You could also extend Glasnow for his first free agent
That's
year.
true.
So you could do that and then not have that big hurt. But yeah, Noah, we hear you.
Yes.
I don't think we're as confident as you are that KK is gone. And I don't think a lot of fans are. I think honestly it's split down the middle.
Yeah, and let me also say this regarding the pitching. Lewis said he couldn't have done anything else. If there was a guy that, hey, let's give you a shot because you have really been a stronghold for us, and to do the up and down Durham shuffle. Mazza, no, I can't get on board with that one, considering he was in the Red Sox organization last year. Like, they probably had the playbook on him. Conley was coming back and dealing with the COVID-19 thing, so you're sort of still he wouldn't have been ready. Dietrich Enns, I could have made a case for as far as having another lefty and a guy who could give you
one.
So, and then with KK too, he legitimately could have given the Rays the lead. He had some clutch hits throughout that postseason.
When the lights are brightest, KK does show up.
That is true. Okay, this next from Dustin Payne, he says, losing sucked. Yeah, we're on board with you there. I really was hoping we were going to cruise to another World Series, even though it's hard to do. Question, any shakeups for our roster? My only concern is I hope our farm system has some good pitching coming our way.
I think so. I think the pitching is coming our way. I feel like depending on what happens in the collective bargaining agreement, which is set to expire in early December, if there are major changes about it, which means that we could see Shane Baz on opening day, because that could affect the eligibility of how many years of control you have. And if that isn't changed, which I would be surprised if it weren't changed. Then you would see him, Shane Baz, in AAA for like a month and a half, like they did with McClanahan and Patino, and then be brought up. But I do expect for the majority of the year to have both Shanes, Drew, and Luis.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Now, number 5, that's a tricky one. Are they going to go to another Michael Wacha type, a guy who can bounce back, a veteran guy, a Fausto Carmona, a Roberto Hernandez 2014 type of vibe, Eric Bedard? That might be the way they do it, but I feel like Yanni Chirinos is there. I feel like you can kind of mix and match within, in-house with this.
Yeah, I think to Dustin's point about the farm system, I think the Rays farm system is always going to have good pitching. The question here, though, is that a lot of the elite arms, or what people project to be elite arms, won't be ready for a couple years. The Taj Bradleys, the Cole Wilcox, the J.J. Goss, Seth Johnson, those types of guys. But in AAA, you have Tommy Romero, who has shocked the world. Brent Honeywell, let's see how he does. Brendan McKay is, I don't know what in the hell to expect from that guy, but theoretically, he could be in the fold. And then Ulises, you mentioned it, Yanni Chirinos coming back from injury. There's a lot of guys coming back from injury. Will all of them be effective and back to normal? Probably not, but you could probably bank on Jalen Beeks, Yanni Chirinos, Oliver Drake, Colin Boucher, Cody Reed, Chaz Rowe, Ryan Thompson. You would think 1, 2, 3 of those would be able to step in and contribute in some way or the other.
Yeah, I think you can look at that number 5, Fleming. We literally didn't even mention Fleming.
Yes.
I don't think Yarbrough. I think Yarbrough is
he gone?
Coming back. He gone. I think Yarbs is gone. Yarbs is gone. And that's the way it is. But I think Yarbs is gone. So maybe number 5 is Fleming, a combination of Fleming, a combination of Yanni Chirinos, and add maybe a veteran, cheap veteran. People, let's not pretend that. I feel like I say this all the time, and maybe I seem like a grouch, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening. All right, it's not. You're not gonna get a Charlie Morton type, a $15 million veteran. You're not gonna get that. So let's get that out of the system.
Maybe the Rays can trade for Joe Ryan and Drew Strotman. Ooh. Can we have a takesies backsies?
No, we cannot. No, we cannot, unfortunately. But you know what you can always do? You can save time and money, Kevin, when you use Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50, 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership? It doesn't make sense. It's like just having an all-star third baseman and not putting him in the game. That's exactly what it feels like. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could ever need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. So go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right locked on in their How Did You Hear About Us box, so they know that Kevin and I sent you on Mailbag Day. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com.
Yeah, and one last thing just to hammer home the question or concern of Dustin Payne, any shakeups for the roster? There's going to be a crap ton of shakeups. We mentioned the pitchers to be reinstated from the injured list. The Rays also have 7 free agents and a majors most matching 19 players eligible for arbitration. Okay, Ulises, what do we have next on the agenda?
We have one of those that we like. The voice memos are back.
Yes.
So a fellow Kevin is going to make his appearance.
Kiermaier, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's another KK, though. Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, guys. This is Kevin Canary here. Just wanted to thank you guys for venting and being angry. I think it's appropriate. I think it's necessary. It really annoys me when people, after losses like this, say, oh, wow, we were so lucky to get there, so lucky to be in that position. I'm pissed. We deserve better. The team is better than that. and I think it's healthy. And kind of like Ulises say, it's part of being a Rays fan, but I think the Rays way lost us this series. Not having any veteran starters really killed us. After I saw Boz and Rasmussen get knocked out, I knew we couldn't go deep in the playoffs with one starter. It's too taxing on the bullpen. So getting rid of Charlie Morton, I think really, and not getting any replacements in the veteran sort of sense, I think lost us the series from the beginning. Brandon Lau, man, painful. This is probably not a popular take, but I think he needs to go. His trade value is high. He had an amazing season starting from June. He clearly cannot help us in the postseason two years in a row. And we have a ton of infielders that we're looking to get playing time for. So I think it's a good time to let him go. Maybe he'll have success like Adames did somewhere else, and maybe we can pick up some veterans or some good prospects. Evan Klosky already responded on Twitter to my thoughts on Lau and says this is a bad take, but I'm sticking with it. I'd like to see him go somewhere else. Kevin, I think you owe an apology to KK for all the hate you send his way. He really showed up in the playoffs, and as a Kevin myself, we need to support all the Kevins out there. And I'm proud of what KK did this postseason. It was pretty impressive, and he really was a huge part of the team. One last thing I want to leave you guys with. I have a lot of thoughts, but if you guys listen to David Sampson's podcast, which I learned about from your podcast, I listen a couple times a week to it. He's got some pretty good insights, but he talks about when Renfroe knocked the ball into the stands, and it was a ground rule double, and he says that he knows for a fact that the reason MLB did not overturn that and allow Diaz to score was because the MLB wants Boston to move on and not the Rays for obvious reasons. And I was shocked to hear how confident he was in this. He says it's not a conspiracy theory because he knows it. So anyways, check out that podcast where he talks about the Rays and that play. I don't know if I believe it, and I hope that's not true, but certainly found it interesting. So anyways, I look forward to next season. Thank you guys for what you do. I really enjoy listening. Oh, and I know you're really interested in your international listeners. If you've had a single download from Iraq all summer, that has been me as I've been deployed out in Iraq. So let me know if it shows up in your stats that you have a listener in Iraq.
Very good.
Wow.
Very well put by Kevin Canary. And I also will say thank you for your service, Kevin. Also, thanks to Ty McCann. He is also a veteran as well. Just want to throw that out there. But Kevin said a lot of good things.
Yeah, I don't know which one to hit. First, as soon as we're done with this pod, I'm definitely going to check out our numbers and want to see the Iraq numbers.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Going to the Lau take.
Yeah, that's the main thing I think we should focus on that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Kevin. I appreciate. Thank you for. I can't give up on a guy that hits 39 home runs
from the second base spot.
I can't.
And plays serviceable, if not above serviceable defense.
Let's say just
well-rounded player in addition to the power numbers.
I just can't give up a guy who hits 39 bombs. And you know how I know that? Because let's count how many guys that hit 39 bombs wearing a Rays uni.
Mm-hmm.
One guy, Carlos Pena.
Yeah. Let me say this.
I can't do it.
Let's also consider that Brandon Lau is projected to make just $4 million this coming year.
Pretty
and
cheap.
$5.25 million the year after. So if you are going to trade Brandon Lau,
I mean, you better.
It can't be JP Fireeisen and Drew Rasmussen.
No, it better be Sandy Alcantara. It better be Trevor Rogers.
It better be something similar to what the Pirates got for or what the Rays got for trading Chris Archer to the Pirates. It has to be, okay, you blew us away. We might pull the trigger on that one.
Yeah, it has to be huge.
If we're just talking, we can talk about he falters in the postseason, whatever, but he's still in the regular season to get to the postseason. He makes it count. And I know I've made some I've made some snide comments about him beating up on the Orioles and the Twins and the Marlins and some of the bad teams, and that's true. But he's also had some good performances against good teams as well. This guy, he is a 5-WAR player. 5-WAR player. You talk about great value. He is among all position players in baseball, according to Fangraphs. He was 15th. 15th in WAR. You don't just throw that away because you want to get Vidal Brujan some playing time and Greg Jones some playing time and Xavier Edwards is on the come up. Brandon Lows don't grow on trees here.
No, they don't. I understand where this comes from. Kevin is not saying this a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. But not performing at all for 3 postseasons in a row. 2019, not good at all. 2020, horrendous. 2021, you know it.
Yeah.
So I understand where Kevin Canary is coming from because the 3 postseasons, that's 115 at-bats. It's a chunk. I am willing to go one more year. Because you just cannot waste 39 home runs. You can't. That doesn't come easily.
No, it doesn't. Okay, we'll move along here. This comment from Lucy Liu says, I think trading Kiermaier will be a mistake. He rallies everyone in the clubhouse. Nelson Cruz will not get picked up next season. He's washed and can't see at the Trop. They better keep Glasnow, dear Lord.
Well, Lucy, thank you for those comments. I do not think Nelson Cruz is coming back.
Yeah.
And I don't, this is bad, but I am okay with just having the Nelson Cruz experience be 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. I think you have enough spots in-house where you don't have to give Nelson Cruz the security that he wants, which is 2 years, at least, or a year and an option.
Right.
And some money that is going to cut into Glasnow, perhaps, or it's going to cut into KK, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm okay with Nelson Cruz. Just, thank you. Hope you keep doing well.
And we appreciated the effort. And I'll also say that, man, it's a little bit unfair to say that Nelson Cruz is washed up and can't see at the Trop.
That I do agree with.
You agree with both of those, or just the can't see at the Trop thing?
They can't see at the Trop. No, he's not washed, for God's sake.
Okay.
It was a bad showing in the playoffs, but do we forget already the monster home run that he did in Game 1? Hello. No. He just had a bad postseason. Not as bad as some other folks that are not 42 or 41. Uh-huh. All right. Let's also put that in. He's not washed. But the splits at the Trop are pretty telling. There's something. I mean, there's something in that domed stadium with the lights. Some guys just can't hit, apparently.
It could be that. But also we have to keep in mind that it's not an easy transition going from one team to another in the middle of the season even if you are a 15-year-old veteran. But he also had some little things here and there. He had the forearm contusion after being hit by a pitch. He was put on the COVID list for, I guess it was flu-like symptoms. So there were a handful of days where he wasn't all there. So, and just to kind of put out the numbers here, in 55 regular season games with the Rays, he had a 226 average, 725 OPS, 13 homers, 8 doubles, and 36 RBIs. He got BABIP'd a little bit. Look, those aren't the best. Those aren't Nelson Cruz-esque numbers, but it's not like he came over and was Yoshi Tsutsugo. No. And look, in the playoffs, he got exposed a little bit. The Red Sox had a good game plan. He seemed to be late or behind on the high heaters, and then he'd go chasing on sliders down and away. And then when there was a lefty on the mound, maybe the last couple weeks of the season and into the playoffs, they drove him inside. And it was either a called strike or he couldn't really do anything with the pitch. So
they attacked him.
There was,
very well. Very well, and you're exactly right. That high fastball and then the sliders away. I mean, that
Swinging
guy,
under the fastball. He's got his swing, and he's not altering that swing. I don't think.
I will say though, those 13 home runs, only 3 of them were at the Trop. So that's what I'm saying. His power is not at the Trop at all. So again, you have a kind of Willy Adames system where if the guy's just going to be good on the road, is this somebody that you really want to have on your team? The splits are just too telling. So again, I don't think he's washed, but I think he will be washed if he plays 81 games at the Trop. So again, thank you for the 2.5 months. Hope somebody picks you up, but I'm okay with it not being the Tampa Bay
And
Rays.
it's one of those things. The Rays very rarely have we're just going to have a DH only guy.
Also, just to put a little bit of a positive on Nelson Cruz, guys, it wasn't just his stat line that was important about Nelson Cruz.
Mentorship.
It was mentorship in the middle of the locker room between Randy Arozarena and Wander Franco. That was worth Joe Ryan and Drew Strodman. That was worth it. It was worth it lengthening the lineup, protecting guys to get that experience. That it wasn't just a stat line for Nelson Cruz, and we always should remember that.
And I would like to see what the Rays offensive numbers of everybody once Cruz arrived to the team went up. Protection. That was a big thing right there. BetOnline. It is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season with a new updated site and interface. Even more odds, props, and contests. BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, to receive your bonus. BetOnline, it is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. It is where the game starts.
Well, now we've got 2021's Locked On Rays Fantasy Baseball Champ, Zach Dabb, with an audio memo. Here we go.
All right, Rays fans, listen up. I know you're depressed. I know you're sad. I'm sad and depressed too, but guess what? It's not always going to be sad and depression, baby. We are going to be back. Guess who's back next year? Wander Franco, just as good next year? No, he'll be better next year. Randy Arozarena, only going to get better and better and better. 2020 next year, 30-30. Shane McClanahan, Cy Young, definitely. Tyler Glasnow, not back next year. Maybe he'll be back for the playoffs. We'll see. Shane Baz coming back. We'll see more Ryan Thompson hopefully next year. We got all these guys in the minors ready to come back. We'll get some free agents. I know we will. You'll see them back. Austin Meadows, another 100 RBI season. Yandy Diaz, still getting on base. We'll be back. We'll win more next year. We'll win better next year. We'll have a more complete team. We're coming back. The best is yet to come, Rays fans. I know you're depressed right now. I'm depressed. It's been a tough time losing that way. But keep your heads up, guys. We are going to be back, and it's going to be better than ever. Raise up!
Love the confidence, love the energy, love the passion and enthusiasm from Zach Dabb.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if all of those things, all of those predictions will come true. Maybe one or two of them. I fully expect Wander Franco to be a better player than he was this past season, which is not an easy thing to do. But look, I think this is still going to be a very good group next year and maybe the next couple of years after that, hopefully.
100%. And I don't think that this team maybe wins 100 wins again next year, but I think they're going to be more talented. I think they're just going to be more experienced, and I think everything worked out perfectly. I think for the 100 wins, that's not an easy thing to do. And I'm not talking down to the 22 team if I'm saying that they're not going to reach 100 wins. 100 wins is very, 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 very good. So I think they're going to be a very talented team. The experience counts a lot, but I will nitpick something that he said.
Okay.
Yandy Diaz, he said back. I want to kind of gauge Rays fandom here, Rays Nation. I love Yandy Diaz, what he can provide in the lineup. I mean, the fact that he doesn't strike out, he takes his walks. He's a good contact hitter that can go the opposite way. You can plug him in at third and first and just get average results. I will say average. Maybe less than average at third because of the range. I think you got to keep this guy, but will they? I don't know. I think there are a lot of names that are on the back of the jersey that are not going to be back with the Rays. And Yandy could be one of those guys. Insert Wendell, Margot, Phillips, KK, all of those guys.
Honestly, though, I would keep Yandy above some of those other guys. I would keep Yandy over Jordan Loplo, for example. I would keep Yandy over G-Man Choi, for example. I might even keep Yandy over Manny Margot. Let's not to get into a whole Yandy Diaz. We will have our play review on Yandy Diaz at some point, but he's the one guy one of the very few guys that works a count that has great plate discipline and understanding of the strike zone. And I think that counts for something. I think that's important where you've got a roster with a lot of guys that strike out continuously.
Yeah, no, you have to have that change of pace. And I think it's going to be better next year. I am hoping Randy Arozarena's strikeout rate will decrease. I'm hoping that Austin Meadows is not going to have a drop-off, so he can remain at a 21, 22% clip. Brendan Lau, let's hope that he doesn't go in a horrible April, May, June.
And if Nelson Cruz is gone, you theoretically could work Yandy into a DH spot and to keep his legs rested and healthy. He might not provide the power numbers that Nelson does, but it's still a good right-handed bat for 100%. All intents and purposes. By the way, speaking of Nelson Cruz, where is he next year? Where is he playing?
I mean, depends on the CBA. Again, everything is going to be hinging on the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, because the DH could be universal, and then now 30 teams or 29 teams could have his services instead of just 14.
I think the Twins bring him back. They pull a Rays Pirates move where the Rays brought back Chris Archer. So the Twins bring back Nelson Cruz. So they have Cruz, Strotman, and Ryan.
Didn't the Yankees did that? They gave up Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs in 2016. They got Gleyber Torres, and then they signed Chapman the same offseason.
I could see it.
I could
see it for sure. Okay, the last comment we'll get to on today's show. Again, we will not have a show on Friday. We will be back next week. I assume we'll be back next week, and we'll have we'll have more mailbag questions. So lockedonrays@gmail.com if you want to send us a voice memo or a comment or a question, whatever you want to. This from John in Scotland, John McNeil. He says, "Thanks so much for the brilliant, if angry and gloomy podcast of recent days. You two guys are the reason that Locked On Rays is a must-listen for all Rays fans." See, I'm cutting this up and sending it to our bosses here. I've not heard anyone mention the popcorn issue other than in a trivial bit of fun manner, but I feel that the Rays broke a very important sporting code during the ALDS. What on earth were the Rays thinking with the popcorn nonsense? It was utterly stupid and could only ever serve to get the opposition even more fired up. It was arrogant and contemptible and should never have happened. When it did happen, senior players or management should have crushed it instantly. Instead, it resurfaced at the start of Game 2.
Hindsight's 2020, man. Mm-hmm. And I understand where John is coming from. Maybe I'm not with I was at the game, so I wasn't privy to that popcorn and apparently champagne thing while it was happening. I was in the stadium for Game 1 and 2. I will say though, there was a guy, and you were in the Game 2 with me, Kevin, in front of us with a billboard that said Shelly. Apparently, Shelly is Alex Verdugo's mom, and the guy was making it very known that he was making inappropriate jokes with Alex Verdugo's mom, Shelly,
throughout the entire game.
He arrived in the third inning, so he basically brought bad luck on Game 2. That's how I'm thinking. Why do you get into a personal attack to professional players? Tell him that he sucks. Yeah. Whatever. Tell him he's bad. Tell him his shoes untied. Tell him whatever you want. But to get into a personal level, I feel like that can just fuel people. Right. And this is kind of what John is talking about, the popcorn. They see the popcorn. They see the highlight reels. They see Sports Center. Oh, the Rays are eating popcorn. Guys, they're eating popcorn. What are we going to do? Are we going to do something about it? Are we going to come out on fire? Ultimately, it's all mental.
Right.
It just depends on how they take it. now that we've lost, I really wish they could take that popcorn back and the Shelly sign back, but we can't. I guess the only thing you can do is learn from it.
Do you buy into the idea that popcorn, as Mark Topkin reported, is usually oftentimes one of the snacks available in the dugout, or was that a special playoff thing? Like, hey, we're rolling here to a 4-0-5-0 lead.
I don't recall seeing another player this whole season eat popcorn.
Me neither.
So I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Now, if there are any Locked On Race listeners who can provide some footage of them in the regular season eating popcorn, please let us know.
Yeah.
You've got it. Add Locked On Race on Twitter and Instagram and lockedonrace@gmail.com. Send it along. I don't remember. And Kevin, I don't miss a game.
Yeah. And honestly, I can't put this on the players, because if it is whoever cooks up and brings the snacks and the food, maybe that's a bad look, bad optics to be popping popcorn.
I mean,
I think it's a little bit of a look. I think pro athletes. You're trying to, you want anything that can give you that extra motivation. Michael Jordan was known for doing that, but at some point it's like, well, okay, if somebody in the dugout is drinking a coffee or an energy drink, chewing gum. Oh, are you bored of the opposition? Or are we beating you up so badly that you got to have a little jolt to stay awake? Like, you'll pick out anything to try to find that extra edge, extra advantage. And you know what? In my opinion, I think everything is on the table against the Red Sox. Everything is on the table against a team that used Apple Watches to steal sign, a team that used the video replay room to steal signs and threw an intern McGee, under the bus, a team that employs Alex Cora, who invented or devised the trash can scheme. So you want to talk about disrespecting the game? I present you the Boston Red Sox.
I feel like I should just drop my mic again.
Is that a standing ovation?
That was my standing ovation.
Thank you, sir.
What a great speech. And you know what? Let's leave it at that, folks.
Yes.
I agree 100% with Kevin Weiss, and he's going to sign us off. Keep sending all of your comments. Let me put that information again. Add Locked On Race on Twitter and on Instagram. You can always reach us, lockedonrace@gmail.com. Of course, we've got Kyle, Mia, Austin, and a couple other folks for the next episode, part 3 of this Mailbag segments. And but keep them coming. I mean, as long as you keep them coming, we're going to keep reading them. So keep doing it.
We've had bullpen gate. We've had data card gate. We've had popcorn gate. Are there some other gates we're missing with the Rays? We'll have to wait and find out.
It's going to be a long off season, so probably.
All right. Thank you again for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day, and we'll be back next week. In the meantime, check out the Locked On MLB